totally Mike Clark in this shit. Totally.
Has Mike Clark ever been on the Drew and Mike podcast?
Yeah, I think he did a couple when they first started out. And then since then, he's had throat issues where like he had to have surgery. I'm not exactly sure exactly what happened, but his voice was gone for a long time.
Right on, man.
He was bitching about everything as usual, so he hasn't changed.
Leave it to the Spartans. Leave it to the Spartans.
I just laugh every time I say I'm gonna Mike Clark this shit, which basically means I'm gonna say I'm gonna do it and then never do it.
Well, I made it a point in our last show to leave in you calling me Drew Lane because I was reading that anal leakage or that
about the root beer.
Yeah, the root beer thing, and you're like, all right, Drew, you don't have to read the whole damn article. Let's go. Come on. I like it when Drew did that, though, man. That was like one of my favorite things that he did.
Yeah, but he was really good. He's really good at what he does.
And I try to emulate him, and you're like, no, dude, you can't beat Drew. Well, I mean, no, it's more like, it's more like long-term booty call status, you know?
I think of myself as a Titan-killing long-term booty call.
Booty call. I just watched that movie again for like the 900th time.
Yeah, don't get me started. I watch it all the time.
It gets better every time I watch it.
I wouldn't say it gets better, but...
All right, so here's my new theory, all right?
Oh, we're jumping right into this.
We're jumping right into it. So my new theory is that the post-credits tag with Nick Fury and Maria Hill, it always kind of stuck with me why Sam Jackson kind of was like looking like a robot saying that, call control, code red. Like he says it really weird. It's like a really weird cadence that he's saying it. And so I was like, all right, well, that's, whatever. So now that I know that he's in Captain Marvel, what I think is going to happen in Captain Marvel is that there's going to be a point in that movie where either Captain Marvel or one of the Eternals talks to Nick Fury and implants him like a Manchurian candidate that moment in time. And in that moment in time, he says, call control, code red, and that's your signal to call Captain Marvel because shit's about to hit the fan. When you need her, this is when you will need her. Call her at this point. And I think that is going to be a plot point in the Captain Marvel movie. I mean, it's
some real Alex Jones shit going on right there.
Whoa. Hey, listen, man. I didn't say that, the snapshot didn't happen and that those were all crisis actors in there, okay?
Yeah, I know. I guess anything's plausible. I mean, it seems kind of... I'll have to go back and rewatch that scene now that you mentioned it. I always did not... I always thought that scene was kind of flunky. It doesn't line up with anything else that's going on right then at the time.
Right?
Like, Mary Hill's like, multiple bogeys over Wakanda, and it's like 10 seconds later they start disappearing.
Yeah, right?
But the fight lasts... I mean, the timing is just really weird. I don't understand.
It's off.
Yeah, there's something weird with it. So, it's always bugged me. Something else I noticed that... I don't know their names. Who is the people in the Black Order?
Proxima Midnight is the chick.
The chick, yeah.
Cull Obsidian, aka Black Dwarf, is the big dude. Yeah.
Okay.
Ebony Maw is the guy that fights with Doctor Strange.
Yep.
And Corvus Glaive is the one.
Corvus Glaive, right.
Is the one that tries to get Vision all the time.
So who's the Cull Obsidian?
Yeah, the Hulk guy, the Hulk one.
Yeah. Do you notice what he's wearing around his waist?
Somebody brought that to my attention.
And
I don't know who. It may have been you.
Maybe.
It looks like a Captain Marvel sash.
It does look like a Captain Marvel sash.
It does.
Yep.
And
I don't know. Maybe it's like a it's like a trophy.
I don't know, man. It could be. It could be. Maybe maybe he'll make an appearance in Captain Marvel. That'd be kind of cool. I don't know how he would. I mean, the whole entire basis of the Captain Marvel movie is supposed to be based on like the Kree Skrull War. So I don't know how he or his race, I don't know what race he's from, would fit into it, but I think it would be kind of cool, like a Korg kind of character,
Yeah, but I mean, maybe they've tangled with Captain Marvel in the past and he beat her or something like that, and that's why.
I like that idea. With the way that they're making her sound, I just don't know if he would be powerful enough to like. I mean, like maybe like Captain Marvel like has a like when Jude Law is Captain Marvel. Uh, maybe he goes into battle against like maybe like they have like this whole uniform where everyone's got a sash, and so he happened to kill one of them and took their sash as a trophy. Does that make
Okay.
sense?
Yeah.
So maybe because I just don't think that he would be strong enough to defeat Cat. I mean, I don't think anybody's strong enough to. I think she's fucking stronger than Thanos, allegedly.
Maybe.
I don't know what kind of
Maybe.
power set they're gonna give her, but you know.
I read some 4chan shit on Reddit the other day, and I was the storyline that they're presenting makes sense. And maybe I can find it really quick. Maybe I can read it to you like Drew Lee. Well, they did say the plot for the new Avengers is not in the old movie. It has not been.
The title of the movie has not been said.
Yeah.
In previous Avengers movies,
okay,
which means Endgame cannot be it because it's been mentioned twice, once in Age of Ultron and once in Infinity War.
So okay, this is what I read. I'm going to read it to you.
Yeah.
All right. There's 3 acts. This is the first act and the second act and the final act. Okay, so first act.
Yes, careful for spoilers. Turn off now.
The movie starts off with Ant-Man traveling back in time to events before Iron Man 1 through a time vortex in the quantum realm. He finds Hank Pym and they start working on a sling ring. Eternity ends up helping them for his own selfish reasons by giving them special gauntlets that allow them to control their movement in time. Iron Man and Nebula are on Titan making their way back to Earth and they group up with the remaining Avengers. Mm-hmm. Thor goes to Hell to build an army of fallen Vikings. He finds some old friends. Hela is also there. Ant-Man comes out of another time vortex and tells the Avengers what is going on, and he gives them the sling ring. Within the first hour of the film, Thanos finds out about the sling ring, so he sends his army, and Thor sends his, whatever that means. In this battle, both future Thor and future Cap end up dying. Thor dies in the first battle, and Cap dies while fighting Thanos' army after time traveling. The second act.
That's in the first act?
Yep.
Jesus.
The Avengers travel across time to collect the stones and stop Thanos. Cap from the past is recruited as a replacement. They grab him right after the Red Skull is transported by the Tesseract. The Avengers then travel to the Battle of New York, the events of Age of Ultron, Guardians of the Galaxy, and before Thor, the Dark World. Captain Marvel tags along on their time-traveling adventures, but she doesn't do much until the last hour of the movie. In the events before Thor, Hawkeye grabs Odin's gauntlet. So apparently Hawkeye went back in time to Asgard and grabbed Odin's gauntlet.
A fake.
A fake.
Yeah.
Doctor Strange eventually makes his way out of the Soul Stone and goes back in time in the sling ring, so this new sling ring. When Thanos finds out about their plot to put together another gauntlet, he sends some more minions after them. In the battle between the new Avengers and Thanos' minions, half of the Avengers from the past and half the Avengers from the future die.
Jeez, oh Pete. Man.
Hulk
Do they name names?
Hulk eventually wields the gauntlet but loses his arm. He later gets a mechanical one. I heard that. I read that someplace else as well.
I read that someplace too.
Eventually, Thanos is killed and the gauntlet along with the Infinity Stones are destroyed. How about for the final act?
That's the second act?
Yeah. Tony absorbs the power of the Infinity Stones that were destroyed. Eternity reveals himself to be the future version of Tony who has ascended his mortal body.
Oh, Jesus.
He has been manipulating events throughout time, and it turns out the only people who truly have free will are Doctor Strange, Hulk, the Red Skull, and Thanos. It turns out Eternity needed Strange to get rid of Dormammu. It is revealed to present Tony that he will become a conqueror and rule over the universe. The people remembered him as Kang the Conqueror. There was a 20-minute battle of everyone versus Kang. Eventually, Doctor Strange goes back in time and kills Tony before he becomes Kang/Eternity. In the end, the Avengers are happy now that the war is over, and then Ultron wakes up. That's it.
That sounds like a really good movie.
It sounds like a lot of shit going on. I have no idea.
I know. I mean, obviously, 90% of that's probably fucking bullshit, but let's riff on that. So, Tony ends up being Eternity. So, Eternity in the first act was really Tony, which is why he was helping them.
That's the way it sounds. Eternity reveals himself to be a future version of Tony.
The movie starts out with Ant-Man traveling back in time before the events of Iron Man 1 through a time vortex in the quantum realm. He finds Hank Pym. They start working on a sling ring. So now, is it just it's interesting wording there that they say a sling ring and not the sling ring, because all sorcerers have slings. So is Hank Pym essentially the creator of the sling ring at that point? Because from what I remember in Doctor Strange, the wielders of the mystic arts have been using sling rings ever since Agamotto.
It's their way. If you don't have a sling ring, you're in trouble.
Yeah, exactly.
You have to have one.
So this has got to be a modified sling ring of some type, which is probably why they said a sling ring and not, the sling ring.
Well, no, it's that's what they said. They still working on a sling ring. And then later on down the road,
by giving them a special gauntlets to allow them to control their movements in time. So that might be the part of the barf technology. Q title sequence. My God, man, Jesus.
Yeah, I know. They've also got like Q post credit sequence. So
man, we see Ant-Man, we see Iron Man, Nebula, and Titan make their way back to Earth. That's got to be an odd ride home, don't you think? I mean the one thing that like really kind of stuck with me in all of these movies. Number one, when they're on Titan, how do they know the atmospheric pressure is good enough for breathing? Like at least in the comics,
they don't.
But how do you know that the planet has oxygen? Like, how do you know that you can? How do you know that you can? Survive on the surface of that planet? Anyway, semantics. Yeah, it's a movie, Matt. Suspend your goddamn disbelief. But no, at least in the comics, Doctor Strange put a spell on all of the Avengers that were fighting Thanos in space, so that way they could breathe in space. I just wish that they would do that in the movies, but like I said, that's nitpicking. Ant-Man comes out of another time vortex and tells the Avengers what is going on and gives them the sling ring. So you got to think when Thor goes to Hell to build an army of fallen Vikings, find some old friends there. There's got to be the Warriors 3, Loki, Odin.
Right. Well, it's very interesting because I just read an article yesterday about how Loki may be dead, but his character might not be dead. He might become the next king of Hell if they have a good plan. If they want to do a Thor 4,
I got you.
Thor might have to go to Hell, where Loki would be the new king and take over from his brother.
That death scene is still good. It's still hard to watch, and it's mostly because of the fucking the eyes of Loki. Like, I mean, I can't. It's hard. It's hard to look at. You're seeing that. So yeah, there's a 20-minute. So it's revealed that Tony is a present, will become a conqueror and rule the universe. So people remember him as Kane. So they turned Tony Stark into Kane the Conqueror. Man. That is pretty damn cool. That would be a very interesting twist. And keep Robert Downey Jr. employed.
Sure. Sounds great, Matt. I have no idea who these people are, who Eternity is, or Kang the Conqueror.
Eternity is basically the entity of time, past, present, future, space, everything that you can possibly think of. Like the only person that's more powerful than Eternity is the one above all, which is a very convoluted storyline, and I'm not going to get into it. Yeah, man, that's some pretty good theories.
Anyways,
dude.
that was pretty cool to read. You can check it out more on your own. We just wasted 20 minutes talking about it, but it's fine.